This is the Better Life, Better Work Show, and I'm your host, Alison Crow. I'm a life and self-leadership coach for authentic and ambitious small business owners and professionals. I show up here in your ears as a transparent leader doing the same inner and outer work that you are. I'm here to remind you that you're probably a gardener and not a machine, and that soft, sustainable, and soulful success is actually available to you on your own terms. Emotional presence and wellness are also available to you as someone who juggles both an amazing business and a beautiful life. I'm here to remind you that more is not better, better is better. What's up? We're live. This is episode 190 of the Better Life, Better Work Show. I'm Alison Crow, and I am here in my office, not in my truck, miraculously. I am in my office painting and drawing for my forthcoming book. We have a December 6th publish date. It'll be ready before then, but I didn't want to publish in November. I don't know why. Just the energies of December, first week of December felt really good to me. But you can expect my glorious book in December. I'm excited. The title is called Unarmed. We do not have a subtitle yet. We'll get that figured out in the next 10 days because in the next, actually 7 days, my book goes to the publisher and designer for editing and publish or designing. So what I want to do today is give you a little bit of update, both personally and professionally. So this summer, I have not been very positionally leadery. I have not been necessarily Alison Crow the coach. I've been Alison Crow the coach to my clients, period. But my dad had a stroke in April while I was on retreat. We contracted my parents' house, needed to get their house at 53 years under magical miracle contract without putting it on the market. I was able to do that. Shout out to Jocelyn Johnson here in Austin, Texas, who was super creative with me and brought a perfect buyer for us to get a massively above market offer with a 4-month lease back so that my parents would have plenty of time to move and go through their 53 years of stuff. I went to the house yesterday for my last time. They have to be out the 31st. There's still a few more things to go, but I went to walk through my home, the only home my parents have ever lived in since I was born into that house. And I walked through yesterday and I had a few tears and I had some memories, and it was fascinating because when I first walked in, the entryway, which became my dad's office, and the living and dining room were pretty much empty. And there was so much space and light, and it just took me through years of memories. Mostly good. And then I just slowly walked through the house, just thanking it. My own life. Hopefully Bill and I aren't moving anytime soon. I did put a pool in the backyard, which is kind of my pissing on my territorial marking. But I have moved a lot as an adult, and I've owned 7 houses. And I realized yesterday as I was going through my parents' house, and then we went to go to a restaurant that was over in my parents' neighborhood. My parents are the last from us growing up in that neighborhood. And I did grow up with lots of other kids and lots of other families. And we all went to school and played sports together, and we were all around the same age. And, I remember a couple of months ago on Facebook posting some pictures and some memories, and my God, I actually probably could post from all of my friends and some of my friends who still watch me on Facebook Lives, maybe not necessarily clients, but my parents' house was a home for a lot of teenagers and a lot of kids for a lot of years. And it has been, for me, a really emotional summer. It's not the only thing. Right. So that's been going on. And most of that story is not mine to tell. I've kept 95% of that pretty private. But it has been intense for me. I won't speak for any other siblings or for my parents, although it is a monumental job. It is a monumental job. Both physically, emotionally, stuff-wise, family history-wise. So while I'm doing all that, I'm also really getting into the depths of IFS and my own internal work. And I was diagnosed with ADHD back on March 1st. And that has been both amazing and overwhelming. And there are waves and waves of things I didn't realize that are attributed to neurodiversity. That helped me understand my own sensitivity. And so for the fall, I will be, one of the attributes of somebody with ADHD is just the amount of ideas in their heads. And because I didn't necessarily take time off work, but I took time off of a lot. I took time off of marketing. I took time off of strategizing. The only work I did this summer was client care. I did not have my usual Soli retreat. I did not have an art retreat. I simply did not have the physical and emotional capacity. So all I've really been doing is serving my clients, doing my best to serve my family. And then I did, agree to foster a rescue dog, which has been both delightful and difficult at the same time. So also doing some med adjustments. I'm working with my psychiatrist through my ADD meds and also getting off not lifelong, that's an exaggeration, getting off of Cymbalta, which I have been on for 15 years, and it's a really hard one to come off. So I've pretty much cried every day this summer, and we're going to call it Unhinged Summer. And as I was writing and finishing in my book, I wrote something, as you get to the end of writing a book and it's about to leave your hands and go in preparation for sharing with the world, there is a massive vulnerability that comes. There are first all the thoughts of pride and I did it and the help that I've had. And then there are also like the manager thoughts and the protectors that come in and are like, I can't believe you're opening yourself up to this. This is too self-indulgent, blah, 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 blah. What? My husband was sweet. Yesterday we went to lunch and he was asking me questions about it. And he was like, what problem does it solve for your reader? And I just was like, I don't know. Like, I don't think like that. I know that marketing is supposed to think that way, but I don't function as a positional leader like that. I just don't function that way. And I'm learning that that's not necessarily abnormal. It may not be neurotypical. It may not be mainstream media. It may not be mainstream marketing, but I am a human leader. I lead through my humanness and willingness to express and to share and to learn in front of other people. I'm a permission giver instead of a linear bullet point bullshit promise leader. I'm not here to find your pain points and tweak the shit out of it. I'm exhausted from a world that finds our pain points. I definitely want to be somebody who helps bring understanding and compassion and relief to our pain points. And so, yeah, as I close out August, and I close out this book, and my parents' house they have to be out by August 31st. So like, there's so many things that happen at the end of August. Is physically, emotionally the end of a season. I'm considering who do I want to be? How do I want to be for the fall? And I have been real willy-nilly with my podcast, sharing off the cuff. And there is a part of me that as I get calm and grounded, and as I have been through the unhinged swampy swamp bug soup of the summer of 2022, I'm ready. I'm ready to take stock. I'm ready to clear the clutter. Definitely ready to clear the clutter. I am ready to hone in on some of the beautiful things I want to share with you. There will be some content around ADHD and what that's like for me and what it's like for many women I know. I am not an ADHD expert. If you think you are a woman and you have ADHD, please start learning about it. It is a rabbit hole. You can go on and on and on and on. And there are so many great resources out there. Y'all, I'm putting together some stuff, or I have an idea of putting together some stuff. The book is a priority right now. And so everything is having to go into a parking lot, but I have some content around that. Obviously there will be more content around being, self-led. How do we lead these parts of us? How do we be a human leader? How do small business owners, entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call us, those that cannot be contained by a working environment bossed around by somebody else because we think in circles and we daydream and we're just function differently than the world wants us to function. I'm going to be sharing some of that this fall. I'm going to be sharing a lot about belonging and finding your people. One of the most beautiful things I notice about my Cultivate Leadership Circle is these women. I love talking about the how-to, but I don't want to be a sales expert anymore. I haven't done that for 10 years. I started out my career that way in teaching sales, and I still find sales and marketing so fun. I really love, I love strategy. I love it, but I don't want to lead with strategy. What I want to lead with is how do we begin to develop self-trust inside? How do we bring our full creativity, our full expression, our full compassionate care for ourselves and the parts of ourselves that doubt and fear and worry. I have had quite a few doctor's visits, one of them an emergency visit this summer, that I wasn't sure if it was a heart attack or anxiety. And when you drag your ass to the emergency room or the clinic next door to the emergency room to double check and see, like, is this anxiety or is it a heart attack? And you know there is something squiggly in your mind when you're hoping it's a heart attack instead of anxiety, because the world is more accepting of a heart attack and less judgmental than if you're having a panic attack. And so I did have some physical manifestations. I haven't had physical manifestations like this of anxiety since I was 20. So, yeah, there's something about being human, and I am reconnected with spirit. There's some really magical things have happened in the last 2 weeks as far as spirit and my spirituality. But I definitely know, and I can see the clearing ahead of me, but I had to spend a season in the woods and the wilderness of my humanity so that my biology, so that my humanness, all of my emotions, all of my nervous system, all of my thinking, all of my physicality could integrate with spirit. And before this season, a lot of my spirituality was bypassing my physical body, bypassing my biology, because it didn't want to do the discomfort. And I can see the edge of the wilderness I'm in right now. I can see the light on the horizon. I'm not in a hurry. I'm just gently, slowly walking and knowing that my humanness, my biology, nature of who I am as a human, of who we are as humans, including everything, neurology, biology, physiology, psychology, is ready to reintegrate with spirituality without forsaking my humanness. I will never forsake my humanness again in the name of spirituality or religion. It's the most damaging thing I've ever done to myself. And it's the most damaging thing that was ever done to me, frankly, as a child. The religious abuse is, and so I may have some conversations about that. The religious abuse, I definitely speak to that in more detail in my book. But some of the things that I came across this summer in my parents' house were some of my notes and my journals from when I was pretty much in a cult. and the way I saw the world and the way I treated myself and the way I treat myself now. And so I'll be sharing some of that with y'all in service of y'all. I'm looking forward to this fall. Right now, the doors to Solis are closed. I have had my membership coaching community for 5 years now. And there are a handful of members. There's like 20 members that have been there from the very beginning. And I want to say thank you to them. And there are some recent members that have come. It's very different than it's been over the last 5 years. It is not a how-to program. It used to be called Soulful Success for Life and Business. We had life classes and business classes, and I have all those classes in the archives, but my clients these days don't really need the classes. My clients don't need the classes. They need the community. They need the belonging. They need the compassion, care, connection, networking, permission to be themselves. And so I am working with a colleague of mine, someone I've had as a guest, to really go into the nuance of who my ideal client is. I hate that phrase, but like, who is my program really for? Because I finally do believe, after 5 years of having a podcast called the Better Life, Better Work Show, that more is not better, better is better. I finally actually believe that. And I am going to go to a more curated membership, a limited membership. Not anybody can just sign up. And I'm going to be doing more discovery calls. I haven't done discovery calls in forever, but I'm going to be doing more discovering calls and really bringing back relational small business for soulful business owners who want to be leaders from self. They don't want to be parts led in their life, in their work, in their parenting. They want to be, they want to learn social, emotional skills that we Generation X were not taught. Frankly, we just weren't. So I'm excited for this upcoming season. I'm not sure what podcast will happen between now and my absolute clarity and getting back to a more structured calendar of sharing. There will always be some intention, and then there will always be some spontaneity, but I'm looking forward to sharing some of these themes with y'all in the future. I send a little love to anybody else who has had a unhinged summer. I know quite a few of my colleagues and clients have gone through some really intense and heavy things with their families, with where they live, deaths, children suffering. All right. And I just hats off to you, because you're still keeping your business going. You're still showing up the best you can for your clients, for your family, and for yourself. And some seasons that is easy and delightful and full of joy. And other seasons, it's fucking unhinged. So, I want to thank all of you for being listeners, whether you're brand new or longtime listeners. It was so fun. Even though the doors to Solis are closed, someone found the back door and came into Solis. And it's a former client of mine, someone who's come to my events before. And she said she heard the podcast, the Show Up podcast from a couple of weeks ago. And she said, where do I want to show up? That's what I'm missing in my life. I'm not showing up. Where can I show up in community to support myself and my business? And she was like, I'm going to Solis. And she found the back door and she ended up in Solis. And so that was really fun to see that my podcast had an impact that way. If you've gotten this far and you've never left a review for my podcast, I would love it if you would leave a review on Apple or Amazon. I don't know that you can leave one on Spotify, but if you can leave a review of my podcast in a way it's helped you, or what you like about it, or why you listen to it, or why you watch these videos, because I like to do them in video. The reason I like to do them in video is because I do know that there are people on the other side. I work off of reciprocal energy. Yes, I love being the center of attention. I'm not going to deny that, but I love the reciprocation. I love the flow of energy. I like circles instead of straight lines. And when you are here watching, or you are here listening, and I know that, something changes in the physicality of my body. I can feel and remember that we're all here in this universe together, and we all are truly connected. And I've just decided that's the way I want to create and connect and support you and support me. So with that, thank you so much for listening to the Better Life, Better Work Show 100. I don't know. I put episode 190. I think I have 190 episodes, and there's 179 numbered and 10 numbered. So this is probably, and I may need to adjust that to it's technically episode 180. Do the numbers really matter? No, they don't. It's an episode. I'm recording it on Thursday. It'll be published on Sunday. And, I'll be, it'll be out in the ethers for however long it's in the ethers. And so with that, I say cheers to you. Cheersing some water. Small business owner, I see you. Human, I see you. ADD person, I see you. Someone who can't not have soul and something deeper and more poetic and philosophical out in the world and creative, I see you. Somebody who doesn't fit in the traditional systems, somebody who is agitated constantly by the systems and then criticizes themselves for being agitated when they want to be joyful, I see you. Those of you who living in the both and, I see you and I celebrate you. Those of you willing to be in the vitality of the range of living, I see you. I'm here for you. You are not alone on this journey. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Peace out. See you next week. As always, thanks for listening. And I want to give a special shout out to Elise Rich from Wide Awake Recordings for her sound production each week on my episodes, especially the car episodes, and for her music composition for my intro and outro. This show is sponsored by my 3 dogs, Leroy Brown, Clementine, and Rocky Potato. They're here to remind you to consider adopting when you get your next pet. More is not better. Better is better.